Welcome to another episode of Agent CFO. And today we are with Dave Sackett, a great CFO, great finance leader who worked in many roles. He is one person who has been talking about AI since 10 years, AI in finance. He saw what is coming even before ChatGPT was in picture, and he has been talking about it and how things are going to change. What are the processes that will be first automated using AI for a really long time. I have privilege of knowing him from last few years, and I have blast discussing all these insights, and now I can do this much more publicly, sharing all the insights that we usually get in these discussions. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Ashok.
What are you doing these days, Dave?
I'm a VP of Finance for Persimmon Technologies. We make vacuum robots for the semiconductor industry. So pretty exciting technology and time to be in semiconductors.
That you're in high demand right now.
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you see this big push for AI that
Yes.
has impacted your sales and the demand?
Absolutely, yeah. AI chips specifically are driving the market. Huge investment, huge production runs, big demands on semiconductor companies right now, resulting from AI and the explosion of how popular it is.
How are you handling it? More Excel files?
Yeah, we do use a lot of Excel files. We had a new ERP system put in last year to help scale us and get my team up to speed before we really start chugging away. But yeah, we've got bookings are good. We've got a plan to really grow in the future. So the idea is now to scale in the future appropriately is kind of my role.
Right. And I think it's exciting times as well.
It is.
It'll be a little scary for finance, I guess. When you're in a stable business, it's totally different way how you can manage everything in finance. But for a business like yours right now, with a high demand coming in and you don't know where it is going to take you,
Right.
it's really difficult to manage the forecasting, the budgeting part, the long range planning.
That's right. Yeah, you've got market forces, you've got new product forces, you've got new customers coming on, new processes coming on. So everything's new and everything's growing. So you don't really know what to expect. You just have to be ready.
It's a good problem to have.
Yes, agreed.
That's right. So we spoke about this for a really long time.
Yes.
What is one of the dangerous phrases in finance? What do you hear?
Yeah, the most dangerous phrase is when people get lulled into not really thinking about the future, and just if you ask someone why things are done this way, they're very content to say, well, we've always done it this way, so let's just keep doing it this way. To me, that's, so destructive of a way to think in terms of adopting new technology, new processes, really self-examining how you're working.
That's right. It's like we have done this the same way all this while, right?
Right.
But breaking it's not about the individual motivation or smartness or intelligence. I think it is baked into the process of our work itself.
Right. Yeah. How can you do your work more efficiently? How can you have low value tasks, not matter?
That's right. And it's also, I make decks and presentations sometimes. When I conceptualize them and I design, I actually miss the overview of what we are making. So I have to show it to someone to take feedback from them. Then I feel like, oh, I missed this. But that happens with finance work as well, right?
It
You are
does,
in the weeds of it, you're dealing with all the details, then you miss the bigger part of it.
That's right. Yeah, especially when you're scrambling, trying to pull data together for a report, and then you have all the details, but then what does the report say is the trend? What's the pattern? Like, what is the real meaning of it all? Yeah, that can get lost for sure.
Yeah, is there a better way to manage this? Being in the details at the same time, having that 1,000-foot view of how things are flowing.
Yeah, no, I would say automation. The more you can automate and speed up your data, the more time you have to analyze.
That's a good way of seeing it, right? If we can automate a lot of details parts of it, then we don't have to deal with it. Now we can actually deal with an abstracted level of processes. At Chatfin, we make people build applications, finance applications, whatever they need. But if you're just prompting, you need to give a lot of details to get things correct. But with right form of abstractions, as an end user, as a finance user, you don't have to give all the ways. For example, you're saying, I need balances of my fixed assets accounts. Then now you don't have to mention how to get that data. If that is abstracted within the application, now you don't have to say, go to this application, do this
Right.
specific query, and get the
Yeah.
data. That's my favorite topic right now. And we
Yeah.
also always deal with how do we do this much more efficiently? Because if you abstract too much, then it becomes a rigid process. How do we make it really flexible so that the end user, it helps them and it also gives them the flexibility to do what they want?
Yeah. No, it's designing a process that has help. So you're not doing everything. You're only doing things that, say, AI can't do. If you're going to automate processes, pulling in agents to help out with forecasting or to help, pull together reports because they're goal centered and they can act autonomously. To me, that's amazing, where they can just go get the data based on what they know.
That's right. And what's the most expensive assumption that is made in finance tips?
I think when it comes to technology, for example, like going to an ERP system, that you need to spend a lot of money to get an ERP system that's going to work the best. And I think that's just an assumption. That's what people think. If you're going to spend all this money, they must have all this functionality. They must have done all this testing. So that should be the way to go.
And also people underestimate, I was one of the people, we underestimate the effort that goes in an ERP implementation.
Right. Yes, exactly. It can be a huge project that needs lots of planning, lots of control, lots of testing, lots of feedback from people as you go.
And all the manual processes that are built earlier, usually you can't lift and shift to the new process, the new ERP.
Right.
That becomes a nightmare.
Put their old process onto a new ERP system, and it wasn't designed that way. So I tell people, speak the language of the ERP system. Like
That's right.
they designed it to work a certain way, learn that way. Like, see if it can change and if it can be efficient in the ERP system.
Right. The funny story, one of the company I worked with, VP of finance, she used to hate the word manual process. So whenever someone brings up manual process in any of the meetings, she
Right.
used to go, whoosh. She's
Yeah.
like, and now she goes into the details of it.
With all these new ERPs coming in, and there is this talk about making it AI first. What's your perspective on that? Do you think ERPs, which are system of record, right? And you have a database layer, and then on top of it, you have workflows built on it. Do you think we should combine the system of record with AI to get more benefits out of it? Or should we have the AI outside of these ERPs?
Yeah, I guess my bias is really to have your ERP system be kind of standalone as that system of record. But certainly putting workflows and AI and everything else on top of that would be my preference.
That's right. And I think no one knows the answer currently. And now we're talking about December 2025 and Jan 2026. We don't know the answer right away whether we should try to combine all the system of action into the system of records. I think CRM is a great example of it. If you take any CRM, you need a lot of data points that needs to be saved, leads, all the follow-up meetings, all that information that comes off it. And then you need AI on top of it. So if you're thinking about, I want to enrich it, I want to go refine all my leads, you need a totally different process to take the data, do some research and refine it. And I've always been thinking, do we need these two be combined? Do we need a new set of tool, or an existing tool can just add AI and make it better? At this point of time, as we see a lot of CRM tools, I think there is no clear answer. Companies like HubSpot, Salesforce will add their own AI into it. But at the same time, there will be new kind of AI CRMs that will come into picture.
I agree. Yeah, we're going to see probably merging of the systems and AI together.
But one clear pattern that we see is the point solutions. We used to have a lot of points, but we still have a lot of point solutions in finance. And that actually worked for really well for a long time, because if you need a specialized tool, as an example, if I say, hey, I need a working capital optimization process. And then it will say, oh, there is one tool that you can use this, and then it'll connect to your data sources. It'll do all this work. It worked really well. But now with this AI era, I don't think we need these point solutions anymore. You don't need a separate close management software. You don't need a special reporting tool or a special working capital management. All you need is a good system of action where it gives the ability to end user to customize it the way they want and build these small point solutions with an AI layer.
Yep, that's certainly a solution.
Looking back at your career, is there something you would approach differently today?
Knowing where we are today, investing more in people, investing more in really rolling out someone's future in finance and accounting in terms of what's their path forward. like doing more of that, really trying to grow with people, give them skin in the game to stay at the company and not kind of have this constant turnover, really show them a future of where they can go if they're good performers.
I think a lot of finance leaders I speak to, they say empathy is a great characteristic for a finance leader to have, or any leader basically. Your eyes set on goal, but achieving that goal, you need people around you to march towards it.
That's right.
And
Yeah, you need
can
good
do
teamwork.
right. You can do it with a way, or you can do it with empathy, and or probably a combination of two.
That's true.
That makes things a lot of more powerful, I guess.
Yes, but having people that are self-motivated to meet deadlines is my approach.
That's right. And now, since you worked in the ERP world, and now there are a lot of ERPs coming into the market. Again, they claim they are AI first. I still don't know what is AI first in building an ERP. But where do you think the future of ERP is going to go?
Yeah, I do think there'll be a merger of ERP and AI, that you'll have software, every piece of software will have AI attached to it, whether it's built in or sits on top. There's going to be some connection that utilizes AI.
And do you think the legacy ERP companies will survive?
I do. I think they'll adapt to new ways of being. I think they'll have clean data. I think they'll have tables that are very AI friendly for AI to manipulate and to pull data out of. I think companies that aren't doing that could be in trouble. But I think if you do know that, people are going to use APIs to dig into your databases and pull and push information, making that as easy as possible is the way of the future.
Right. I think I realized little late is the nuances of various industries, because we only know these big players in ERPs, but there are other tens of other ERPs that exist and a lot of companies use. For example, there are a bunch of ERPs just for the manufacturing industry. There are ERPs for service industry. There are ERPs for restaurant industry, very specific line of businesses, because they need all those nuances that are built into their ERP process. And I don't think this now is a question about ERP versus AI ERP. It's more of a question about how can your ERP bake in all the details that are needed for that specific industry, specific domain, and also on top of it, how can it add AI layer or an ability to connect to other tools? I think that would be a great selling point even in the next few years, rather than just focusing on the AI part of it.
No, I agree, especially when you have specific industries, whether it's the steel industry, whether it's woodworking, whether it's, they have very unique needs. And if your ERP can address those and make things more efficient for them, then I think that's going to kind of give them success when they're trying to sell into an industry that they support.
Right. And I know you are one of the person who did extensive research on AI tools. You have seen many AI tools in your research. Is there something that feature or capability that really impressed you?
Yeah, it's funny. I think of AI reading 0 and 1s. So that's just my machine learning, like that's how it works. But handwriting, to be able to identify handwriting and convert that into English and into numbers. Yeah, that amazes me that that's even possible.
That's right. We actually deal with that. So in some companies, they still use handwritten documents. You can guess which industry, but and then how do you digitalize it, right? It's a lot of people think it's just an OCR that you can use to digitalize it, but the problem is you need much more than OCR to make sure everything is right. For example, what if you cannot, even as a human, we cannot read it? Can machine do it? How do you ensure that it's the same thing that we want to read it? O and 0 are always the problem. And that's one of the toughest problem. And even if you want to solve it by technology, how do you even read it? Even we get confused whether it's an O or 0.
That's right.
Those are all the things that needs to be considered. There should be a fail proof. There should be multiple validations to make sure everything is right. It's one of the toughest problems to solve.
Yes. No, I can see that for sure.
Yeah. And my other tough problem is to read Excel files with merged cells. I think merged cells is kind of a blasphemy that you should never do it.
Be my mantra. I would never use merged cells. I would use center across selection. I would use so many different tricks without merging cells. But ironically, I find myself merging cells all the time now.
Yes. Some of humans can read merged cells much better. We do understand, but with AI, I've seen it's a really big problem with merged cells because it gets confused between whether this belongs to this column, that column, or which row. All those things becomes really big problem in dealing with finance data. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I have AI in Excel, we have these tools, but the biggest problems is how do you handle all these exceptions that happen, like merge cells, different card coding, and how do you even
Yeah.
deal with all this?
Yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, those are challenges for sure.
Yeah. And directionally, do you have, um, in terms of an insight on how AI is going to change the finance process in the future?
Yeah, I think people are going to have assistants. There'll be AI assistants that you can say, hey, run me this report, do this variance analysis, get all this data, put it together, give me, English in terms of what's happening.